Understand that life is a race, ooh, for each and every man. Sometimes people will treat you like worn out shoes, but they don't know that you can't lose. Come and be a winner. Be a winner now. Now you're a winner. Oh, baby. Oh, come and be a winner.
All right, welcome back to CITIUS MAG live from Eugene. It is day 7, I think. I'm losing track at this point. I feel like we've been in Eugene forever. Chris Chavez here, joined by... We're going to complete the set of the U.S. Olympic heptathlon team. We've already had on Anna Hall, Sha'Carri Hawkins, and now we welcome on Taliyah Brooks. 3rd time's the charm here at the trials. Congratulations.
It is. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So the competition, this was not an easy one for you. I guess, like, can you walk me through, I guess, like the 2 days? Because there were some, like, I wouldn't call them, maybe they were scary moments, but just sort of like nerve-wracking moments.
Yeah. No, definitely. I came into the meet like super excited, super confident. I think everybody knows that hurdles is one of my best events, and you always want to start off like super strong. I had a great warm-up, and then I don't know what hurdle it was. I think it might have been hurdle 8. I hit it, and I saw the whole meet like flash before my eyes, and I was like, oh my God, you have to stay on your feet and just do what you can to get through the finish line. So yeah, we started kind of rough with those hurdles. I think I was in shock, like going into the high jump, but I just tried to take it one event at a time. There were a few events where I was unsure if I was going to make it through just because random stuff started just happening, like in the warm-ups and whatnot. But I told Coach Johnson, I was like, Coach Johnson, I earned my spot with my 3 worst events, the shot put, the jab, the 800. I PR'd in all of them, but I think it just shows the hard work that we've put into those.
One thing that I found really interesting is just sort of like the comeback story. You know, given what happened at the last trials with you, I guess, can you set that up, I guess, for people, just the context around just sort of the ghost that you had to essentially like erase here?
Yeah. After the 2021 trials, like after the heat exhaustion, all that stuff, it took me a long time to like muster up the courage, maybe that's the word, to like come back. So in 2022, we had the trials in Fayetteville. I was hurt, so that was just a year that doesn't exist in my mind. But then 2023, getting ready for Budapest, I think I had a lot of anxiety coming back to Hayward after that. But I think making that team really set me up mentally for this year. And coming back to Hayward, I didn't have as much of like the mental jitters of actually just being here and going through the trials. But I knew what the heartbreak felt like, and I knew I didn't want to feel that again. So I think that was a lot like on my mind coming into it. Like, I don't want to feel that. We've worked really hard for 3 years. Like, we're going to make it through this and hopefully get on that team.
Mentally, what did you do to kind of like strengthen yourself, just sort of like to not think about it? Like, I feel like even someone like Anna, like you getting into the blocks for the hurdles, like I feel like I would have been just kind of so nervous, but it has been a while. And so it's like, all right, I've done so much since then. Like, I can't let this, you know, the storyline that definitely the broadcast is playing up, you know, ruin my day.
Right. It's a good thing we can't hear the broadcasters. I haven't watched it back yet. I probably will, because I always go back and watch the broadcast. But I don't know. I've worked a lot with a few different therapists. Like the first year, I think 2022, I was just with like a regular life type of therapist. And then this year I was with more of a sports psych. And they've really helped me, each of them, like in their own way, just with the anxiety and with like, I can't control what has happened in the past, but I can control like what's going on now and what I'm doing through each event. And so, yeah, it was super nerve-wracking. Like I don't know. I just had to breathe through it. I really leaned on like my coaches and my PT, Andy. Like even after the hurdles, he's just wrapping my ankle and he's like, "You got it. You'll get it back in this high jump." And so I think really the people around me has helped me reach that point.
This trials in particular, like the stakes are just so high, right? And like, do you feel like this was the toughest competition on paper? Because I mean, like the top, 4 or 5 were all like suitable contenders to make this team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think my mindset just coming into this one was a little different. Like, I knew it was going to be a hard team to make. I knew I would have to hit like all of my events, which I didn't even end up doing. I again hit the bad ones. But I knew like one event could change everything for you. I mean, we saw that in the hurdles. We saw it in Sha'Carri's javelin.
Yeah.
And obviously it's Olympic trials. Like, everybody rises up. And I think that's something that I've learned from the last Olympic trials. Like, the last Olympic trials and just how we approached it. I was running really fast in the hurdles. I was jumping far. And I went into it like, oh, I'm going to win the track meet. I'm going to be on the team. Everybody else rose up as they should have.
Yeah.
And so I knew that coming in. Like, you can't count anybody out. Even going into that 800, like, Sha'Carri, I think, ran a freaking season's best. She ran 2:14 in her 800. Like, you can't count people out. She threw 49 meters. I love her to death. But those are like some numbers that stick out to me, like, of people rising up. I mean, I threw 14:23. I've never even thrown over 13:50.
Wow.
And so that's just, an example of, it's the trials, it's the stage everybody wants to be on. You can't count anybody out. It doesn't matter how they've looked coming into the track meet. You've got to respect the field, and you've got to put your best foot forward.
The emotional outpour afterward from Anna and Sha'Carri was just sort of like a lot of relief. How did you feel just sort of after the 800?
I felt a lot of relief. I think I was really proud more so for the people around me than I was for myself. Like, I was definitely happy to make the team. I'm still super happy, super grateful, but I think my reaction was very delayed. And I
thought so too. Yeah,
it was very delayed. It was a few hours after. I was in Tracktown Pizza, actually, with Coach Johnson. My family hadn't gotten there yet. And I'm just at the table, and I'm like, Coach Johnson, we've had so many sad moments. Like, we finally got a happy one. And I just bust out in tears, like, crying. And so I'm in Tracktown Pizza, just a mess, like, crying. People were probably looking at me crazy. But it was very, very delayed. I'm not sure why. I think it was just, like, when I was laying on the track and I saw the results pop up, I think it felt like relief. It felt like years of emotional, physical relief that just kind of poured out of me. My family was very emotional. My college teammate, Alex Gokenauer Brondike, now, she didn't finish the meet, but she was there. I saw her in the victory lap. She was super emotional, but it was delayed. I think it took like a day for me to feel it, but I definitely had all of the emotions.
What I love about doing these conversations, just sort of like the day or two after, is that you have had a little bit more time to process things, as opposed to when you're coming through the mix zone, and even just sort of like that. The 800 probably felt like a blur, and like everything, like you black out essentially for like about an hour. That night, was it hard to get to sleep?
Oh, I didn't go to sleep until like 4 o'clock in the morning. And then my dad was blowing up my phone at like 6:30 in the morning. So that whole day I was running off of like 2.5 hours of sleep. But obviously, I mean, I wouldn't change it. I think just now today, I don't even know what today is. What's today? Thursday. We competed on Monday. Today's the first day where I don't feel like I'm just dragging around. Like, I finally got some sleep last night. But it did. It took a couple days to like get some sleep and get off of my phone. And like, my phone I probably have hundreds of unread messages just from the weekend, people congratulating me. So it's been crazy.
Are a lot of those messages, that the ones that you have open, just sort of like, yes, they're all like congratulatory and like super happy for you, but how many of them are like referencing just sort of like the whole journey and like the path from like the last couple years, knowing how hard it was?
Right. A lot of them, it was a very public thing, that happened. And it surprises me sometimes. Obviously, people in my circle, people that actually know me, just not on social media, obviously I know that they remember those things. But it's the people that don't really know me in real life, or some of the fans that remember what happened. Because again, like, everyone around me knows. And so it was just, they were happy for me because they know the journey, but just also, the people that don't know me and the fans, they all remembered that. And I was kind of glad that people remembered that, because it's not just like, oh, she had a good year, she made the team. Like, no, this was years and years late, I guess, or this is years and years of work. And so I'm glad that people remember, people recognize that, and it's being acknowledged.
It's a little delayed gratification for both you and Anna, because both strong contenders to make that 2021 team. and unfortunate circumstances for the two of you. What was it like, I guess, when you finally get to, that tent afterwards, or if it might have been like in drug testing, or just the two of you? Like, what was that conversation like afterwards when there's like no TV cameras and all that stuff? Like, did you have that moment?
We did. The very first one, I think, was on the victory lap. It took us both a really long time to come around. The men's 400, no, the women's 800 was running, and we were at like the 300 mark. They wanted us to stay there until the race was over.
Oh my gosh.
And we were just like, yo, we made the team. Just through like the circumstances, like you said, like both of us had the mishaps in 2021. She obviously had the knee surgery, and then I was healthy at the start of the competition, but then each event something was going wrong. I was clearing stuff on my last attempt, the javelin on the last attempt, and so we were just talking about like how gritty I was through that, how much she's had going on. And I think both of our families were truly happy, like, for each other. Her mom sent me a really nice message on Instagram. Her whole family like gave me a hug. I think my whole family gave her a hug. So like we really pull for each other. We really root for each other just because we know, like, again, what that heartbreak feels like. And a lot of people can't relate to that.
How did you clutch up in this competition? Because it was sort of like, for Coach Johnson, I wish we would have had like a heart rate monitor on that guy,
Oh my
because like
goodness,
you must have been
I
driving him
know.
crazy, and just sort of like if it came down to the third or final attempt, like you found a way. I think like that's kind of
found
like
a way.
the motto for this whole entire competition for you. You found a way.
Right. I did. I think Coach Johnson joked the next day. He was like, you owe me a spa day because I lost years of my life in this competition. I don't know. I think Coach Johnson would really just remind me, like, when I would be in the back, like, crying, like, Coach Johnson, I can't run. Like, something's going on. He would just remind me, like, no, this is Olympic trials. Like, you've worked really hard to be here. You deserve to be here. Like, you will be fine. You just have to, like, push through. And so, yeah, I think it just was, like, a culmination of all the work. Like, I would be in some of the events, and I'm like, I didn't wait 3 years to get here and not clear 173.
Yeah.
Or not, like, do stuff that I do at practice, or sometimes that I don't even do at practice. Sometimes we don't even jump at 173. And so, yeah, I think it was that. Like, I don't want to wait another 4 years. I don't know where I'll be in 4 years. I might, be running around with some kids or something. I don't know. I didn't want to feel that. And I think I would remember everything that we've been through, everything that my family and, like, the people close to me, because when you don't make it, it hurts them too.
Yeah.
Like, they hurt for you. And so, yeah, I think that was kind of what was pushing me through.
Anna was super honest when I sat down with her, and she was like, I don't know if I would have been okay if I didn't make this team. Like, she openly spoke about that with her coaches. Like, I don't know how I'll be able to continue on. Like, right? That's like 2 Olympic teams missed due to whatever it could have been. How would you have dealt with it now that we don't have to worry about that?
Now that we don't have to worry. No, I definitely agree. Because I think in 2021, like, looking back, I don't know how I dealt with that. And I would tell people, like, I see why people retire after missing Olympic teams. And this one was only 3 years from 2021. The next one is a full 4 years. And so, yeah, I think I definitely, I probably would have retired, or that just would have been very hard for me, knowing that it wasn't something that's like a long shot dream. Like, it's something that I was prepared for, something that I could do. And just not doing it hits differently. Like, yeah, because again, I've felt that, and it just being 3 years later, that would have been a tough one. I think I really would have had to lean on the people around me. Y'all wouldn't have seen me, at least for a few days, a few weeks, while I just gathered what actually happened.
Yeah. This competition in particular, how painful was it? Because, like, I was reading up, I was like, there was knee, foot, ankle. What was hurting on this one?
Oh my goodness. Well, after the hurdles, I don't know if I stepped wrong. Like, when I hit the hurdle, I'm not sure, but I went into the high jump. Like, okay, I warmed up well. I think I cleared 180 in warm-ups. And then after I sat there, I was like, wait, my ankle hurts. And which is why I started hitting those bars. So that the ankle started hurting in the high jump. It made it really hard to start clearing bars. And then the ankle just kind of stayed that way through the rest of the competition on day one. We had the break. I came back for the shot put, and the break, I think, kind of worked opposite of my favor on day one, because it just let the ankle get stiff.
Yeah.
So then I came back after the few hours and I could hardly warm up. And I was like, Coach Johnson, I was having a heart attack. I'm in the back. He's like, are you okay? And we're in front of a lot of people. And I'm like, no, I'm not okay. And I just started crying. I was like, I can't run. But I think just having that break just let it kind of stiffen up. And shot put like helped. I think because it just wasn't, if you go back and watch the film, I don't even know if you can see me, but for the entire shot put, I would throw and then I would jog in place. Like, I think I sat down in the shot put maybe 2 times for like 2 minutes each.
Gosh.
Other than that, like, I'm in the background jogging, just really slowly trying to warm up the ankle. And then after the 200, Michelle fell. I fell into her and like tumbled and rolled. And so the next day, my knee was kind of hurting.
Oh my
I think
gosh.
from that. And so getting ready for the long jump, I couldn't really warm up for the long jump. And it got to a point where like I'd do a stride and then Dustin would like work on my knee, work on my hamstring. I'd do another stride. And on the broadcast, so you could probably see me like way off to the side, I'd run, do a jump, and then I'd go lay and he'd work on my stuff. And then I'd get back up there. And I don't really know how I like mustered up the energy to run down the long jump runway. But when we came out for the 800, everything just stopped hurting.
Wow.
Like everything literally just stopped hurting. And I ran the 800. I did feel it a few hours after the 800, but I don't know
That's
if
adrenaline.
it was the adrenaline.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was just praying. I was like, oh God, please like get me through these events. And just each one I was doing just enough. Everything was just, I mean, even the 800 was just enough to cover.
Yeah.
I think that's just a testament to the hard work, like the faith, all the people that back home that's praying for me, all the people that were pulling for me in the stadium. So it was crazy.
Is the heptathlon the most emotional event in track and field? Is that what I'm kind of gathering? You
Absolutely,
have so
because
much time
everybody
to
else,
think.
you just do your one, and whether it goes good or bad, like you're emotional, but like a miler doesn't have to run the mile and then come back and run it again. I mean, I guess sprinters can somewhat relate. They do a semi and then an hour and a half later have to do a final. But even then, like imagine having another hour and a half and then running it again and then having another hour and a half and running it again. So yeah, it's very emotional. You kind of have to just take it one event at a time. And if one doesn't go well, like you can't take that energy into the next one, or it can just take you downhill from there.
What did you take away from your experience in Budapest that like you're hoping, will be valuable for Paris? It's like, the heptathlon is just filled with amazing athletes, and I think the team that we're fielding is going to be very strong, but the rest of the world is also very strong.
Yeah, the rest of the world is strong. I think it's interesting. Like I'm a little older, and last year in Budapest, I had the 2,000 the long jump and Anouk Vetter. She's from the Netherlands. Yeah. She was sitting next to me. She was like, "We're the old girls in here. Like we got it. We know what we're doing." Because she also had 2 fouls. I ended up fouling out, whatever. But I mean, I'm 29 years old, but I feel young in terms of the hep. Like, I think up until last year, I never even really considered myself a hep. I was like, I'm a long jumper hurdler that does a hep sometimes. And that's kind of how we approached our season. Like, and even in 2021, I ran lots of hurdle races, did lots of open stuff. I think I did 2 heps that year.
Okay.
Last year was my first time actually like, Coach Johnson's like, no, we're doing heps. You're not going to these open events. You are a heptathlete. And so now it's like a lot more focus on training. I do 4 or 5 heps a year.
Wow.
So it's very different, and I'm still like learning the event. But I say it to say like in Budapest last year, I think was the first time that I really like considered myself like elite in the heptathlon. And like after day 1, I think we were 1, 2, 3 maybe, or we were all the U.S. people. We were all up there, and I was like, "Oh,
we're sweeping.
I can really do." Like I was like, "Oh, I can really do this."
Yeah.
Like I mean, these girls are really good, but I'm also really good, and I think that kind of changed my mindset just coming into this year. Like the goal wasn't just to make the team. Like we want to make the team. Yes, check that off. Okay, and then now put ourselves in a position to get a medal. And I think if I can put together a full hep, then I would be able to do that. And so, yeah, I think Budapest just kind of prepared me for this year. It gave me some experience on that world stage. Obviously, having the 3 fouls last year and like the emotional breakdown, like I think I was able to use that this year, just even in the trials. Like I fouled the first one, 591, which for me is not good. Even the 629 is not good, but for the circumstances, like a last attempt jump, we need to put something on the board. We can't have a foul. and I was able to do that. But I think without the mishap in Budapest, it would be a different situation.
Can you describe for the people who may not be as familiar with just sort of like the toll on your body of completing like a heptathlon over 2 days? Like, how are you feeling? I guess we're 48 hours since the competition, and then, you know, I'm a distance runner, so I think of it as just sort of like, like my body has 2 marathons in me for the year, right? Thinking of doing 5 is how I view it as like, like a heptathlon and a marathon must be very similar in terms of just like how taxing they are on the body. So to think that you're doing 4 to 5 in a year seems like a lot. It
is a lot. I haven't done that many this season, but last year, I think we kind of had to just. Coach Johnson really wanted me to get in the mindset of like, you are a heptathlete, and that is all we are going to do. So we kind of, some might say we may have overdone it, but he just really wanted, it had been a few years since I did like a high level heptathlon. So 5 is a lot, but I think afterwards, especially like super emotional heps like this, like, need a few days. You start feeling the nicks and the pains that you like acquired throughout the competition. Like my legs are all scraped up. I have bruises on my feet, on my ankles. Like, so we're just letting some of that heal, like letting the emotions kind of come back down, do some pull workouts before we get back started next week. Usually like during the year, I'll do a hep and then I'll have like 2-3 days off and then we get right back to it. Just to limit like the amount of days that we're missing for training. But like right now, like the work's been done. We're just going to kind of let it sit, let the body heal, and then get ready for Paris.
You must have been looking forward to this. Just when they announced like, the 2024 Olympics are going to be in Paris, I think everyone lit up because it was like, that sounds like, one, we're returning back to normalcy with like full stands. The city itself is beautiful, and we're going to be able to really celebrate like the Olympic Games. What are you looking forward to the most out of like all the festivities? You're
my goodness.
Opening ceremonies?
I'm doing everything. I was like, I'm going to everything. If they're giving some free ice cream in front of the Eiffel Tower, I'll be there.
We got free ice cream here at Prince Park Place.
So I'm going to go get some. But I'm looking forward to opening ceremonies. I think just as a fan of the Olympics, like watching that as a child growing up, like that's going to be crazy. So I'm excited to be a part of that, to see it like in real life, to be there. I think I'm super excited for that. Obviously the competition, and then my family, Tokyo, if you're an Olympian, you're an Olympian, but I think that it may have been like a blessing in disguise. Tokyo family members couldn't be there. And like this one, like I have such a big support system, and just everyone that's poured into me, like they can be there, and it's also like they can be a part of it just as much as I can. And so I'm happy about that.
I heard some of your family booked tickets before.
They did.
Wow.
And part of me was like, don't tell me that. Y'all are going to stress me out. But someone told me, like, I was telling someone that, and he was like, well, just take it, like, don't let it stress you out. Take it with confidence. Like, they believe that you are going to make the team. Like, they have that much faith in you that they're preparing ahead of time. So, luckily, like, they didn't tell me too much. They would just kind of say, like, oh, we booked our flights to Paris. Like, oh, we got our Airbnb. And so, I think for me, like, while it can add a little bit more pressure, it does, like, it's like, oh, y'all really think that I can. And that also gives me a little bit more, like, confidence and motivation. Like, yeah, they really believe. This isn't just a dream that's like, oh, I made it to the Olympic trials and I might make the team. Like, they believe that I could. When
you mentioned being a fan of, like, the Olympics, did you ever envision yourself competing in the heptathlon, or was it a different event for your own Olympic dreams?
I think the older I got, it was like, okay, the heptathlon is the way that I'm going to go. But, you know, I wish I could just be fast and run the 100. I don't say just be fast. Like, that's something easy. But, like, that's, like, the sexy event. Like, I'm trying to be with Sha'Carri. Like, I think someone asked me once on Instagram, like, if I could do any other event, what would it be? And I was like, oh, I'd anchor a 4x1.
Yeah.
Like, to do something like that would be crazy. I've never even run the 100. But, I think the older I got, it was like, okay, that's what I'm really good at. Like, I like the hurdles, I like the long jump, but I'm really good at that.
Is there any other sort of, like, event group or athlete? One of my favorite things is hearing the stories of the friendships that pop up on world championship or Olympic teams where it's like, oh, like you never would have thought like this distance runner and this shot put thrower are like all of a sudden best friends after they shared a team together. Is there someone on the team that you're looking forward to, like, oh, I'd love to get to know that person a little bit better?
Oh, to get to know them a little better? Let's see.
We've got half the team already named. So.
We do have half the team. Well, obviously, I mean, I already know her, but I'm pulling for Shamir to make this team. She's my training partner, roommates last year in Budapest, so she doesn't count. But I really need Shamir to be there. Let's see, someone else that I'm excited to get to know. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
I'm excited for everybody.
What about a different sport? Like if you're like,
different sport. I love gymnastics.
Yeah, so like
if
Simone Biles.
If the schedule permits, I will be at every single gymnast, like all the things that they have. Someone asked me who I want to sit by, and I said Suni Lee because we kind of talk back and forth on Instagram. Like, I love her. I love her energy.
Amazing.
I'd love to meet Simone. Like, I love gymnastics. So, and then obviously the basketball men, LeBron. Come on. I think I'm more excited to meet non-track athletes.
Of course.
I mean, I love our track people.
Yeah,
We see each other all the time.
Right.
Like, I'm trying to see somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see somebody else.
Is there a sport you want to go see that you've never seen in person and you want to see up close? Like for me, when I went to Rio in 2016, first thing I went to go see, table tennis, because I was like,
that is something that you only watch in the Olympics.
Exactly.
That's actually crazy.
So then go see just like how fast it actually is in real life. It's mind blowing. And so, yeah, what other events are there? Gymnastics is great.
Gymnastics is great. I think I would want to see beach volleyball.
It's in front of the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful from the photos I've seen so far.
I would want to see beach volleyball. And also, like, this is very odd, and I still don't even know how they're going to score it, but like the breakdancing?
I know, me too.
It's odd to me.
I heard that
I want to see that.
Someone's job essentially is now like the Olympic DJ, because like I don't know exactly how it works. I haven't watched like a video on just how breakdancing at the Olympics is going to work, but I think like there's a DJ who plays music, and then the athletes don't know what's coming up, and then have to like respond, and then like I guess they get it. I don't know. If it's like ice skating where they get a score?
It's gonna work.
But regardless, I'll be there, and Olympic DJ sounds like my dream job.
Bro, I think I'm gonna be in there. I'm gonna be going with the music.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's winning or how y'all are choosing the winners, but like it's just super unique.
You should have been like, when were their trials? I could have doubled. Two-sport athlete.
Look, I could have been. I've been twisting on my head. The pro might not have liked it, but hey.
Well, Taliyah, I appreciate you stopping by. There's so much excitement, happening for you right now, and the next couple weeks of training, I'm sure like you buckle down and get serious, and just really looking forward to cheering for you in Paris.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited. We're going to Paris, so I'll see you there.
Awesome. Thank you, Taliyah.
Thank you.
We'll be right back in about 5 minutes with our next guest, Fred Kerley.
Seems like you've been wasting time trying to find your place in life. You need to get your ducks all in a row. So take some time to understand that life is a race. Ooh, for each and every man. Sometimes people will treat you like one out shoe, but they don't
All right, we are back. CITIUS MAG live from Eugene, and we're joined by a very special guest, the one and only Fred Kerley, Olympic silver medalist, 2022 world champion, and now returning back to the Olympic Games in the 100. I mean, I want to start with just the fact, the last time I saw you in New York, like, essentially you took a huge bet on yourself. That bet paid off massively here at the U.S. Olympic trials. How are you feeling after everything?
I feel like I feel been in a good position. I'll forever bet on myself no matter what. And I know the right way to go. And if my gut telling me something is going wrong, I'm going to make sure it go right. So I always going to bet on myself no matter what.
Yeah. Have you always been a gut check guy?
I've always been a gut check guy. I know when stuff is going wrong, and I know what if my guts ain't telling me it don't feel good, it's not going to feel good. But I know once I would get in a position, I'm always going to bet on myself no matter what. And bet on myself been paying off my whole entire career.
Before this, I guess, like, this is a pretty long layoff we saw between races. What was sort of the fitness and practice telling you, that you were capable of before New York, and then coming out here, there's a couple extra more weeks of training?
Well, I know I'm in shape. This weekend don't define what I actually been doing in training. It was just get the job done, get top 3, and go train for what's going to be the big show, is the Olympic Games.
In the famous tweet. Next time I touch the 100 world record. Translate it for me. Like, I guess, what exactly do you mean?
I haven't touched the track yet, to tell you the truth. I haven't touched the track. Like when I'm saying that, it's just like everything got to hit perfectly. Everything got to come together. And everything ain't come together at that moment. So when everything come together, I know what time I'm on.
What's missing? When you say everything's going to come together?
More training. That's all. That's what's missing. And I know I train with the best, so it's just like I know what I need to do to get where I'm trying to go.
Stepping out onto that track, this is the same track where you won the World Championships. In that first round, your first race in a while, did you feel like 2022 Fred?
I not feel like 2022 Fred yet, but it's coming. So it's just like all the small things got to add up to the bigger picture.
Race execution wise, like, take me through, I guess, like each one of these rounds. So 10:03 first round, 9:89 second round, 9:88 in the third round.
I feel like through every round, there was a C+ effort. I still got to get some A+ effort. Those rounds is just C+s, and I know what I was doing in training to get me where I'm trying to go. So I feel like what I did this past weekend was not me. I'm better than that. So I feel like those C+ effort, and I know what I'm capable of doing, and I know where I'm trying to go.
Yeah, I'm curious. Like, are you chasing? Is it a place or a time? Like, what's a success for you in these? Is it winning or is it running fast? Or?
Success for me is upgrading my silver to gold.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing, is winning. And time come with it. The most important thing, we say time, but at the end of the day, if you don't win, that time not a factor. So the most important thing for me is the win.
We were hanging out yesterday, and I asked you just sort of, where's that silver? You don't even know.
I don't know, because where I'm trying to go is not what silver's lay on. So I'm trying to upgrade my silver to gold.
Yeah.
What have you made this year of just sort of like the 100 in general, right? Like, it's taken a while for like all of the professionals to really get going. I think the race in Jamaica was maybe like the first big one that people considered to be fireworks, and now that it's championship season, everyone's stepping up.
So as a professional, season don't start until this past weekend. That's when the season start. Like, whatever we did before, it don't matter. What we do at these that matter, that's actually when the season really starts, because that's see who on the team. That's when you see who's going to get to different meets and stuff. Season start at trials.
Yeah, is it for you when the pressure is at its highest, like these sort of events, do you think that's when you're at your best?
I feel like pressure is not what I do on the track, because I feel like track is the easy part. Pressure is when you don't know where you eating at, sleeping at. I feel like I already been through the harder part of my life. This stuff is easy to me. Yeah. And I love competing, and competing is probably what we do best.
Yeah. When we look at sort of like the results and just sort of like the progression of the season, it looks very similar to 2021. And that's why, like, I feel like throughout the year when these questions about you have come up, it's just like, is he going to perform? Is he going to show up at the championships? you just can't. I mean, we had that whole article even on our site where it was like, I don't think Fred Kerley's like breaking the world record anytime soon, but you are fully confident in like, no, like I'm on the same plan as 2021 right now.
So if you count me out, keep on counting me out because I know
I'm not counting you out. That is Anderson's video.
I'm saying if you count me out, I'm counting myself in no matter what.
Yeah.
So you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So you don't know, like, no athlete's plan. So the coaches and everybody know what you've been training for. You're not training for no one race. We're training for multiple rounds year in, year out. So we're not training for, or yeah, I can go run 11:0 one day and then boom, the next day I can go run rounds and be faster. Everybody not training for rounds. We training for rounds, not run race off.
Yeah. You posted the videos, I guess. Like you posted something this morning too, like you're sort of like of training. What are you sharing there? Because it's sort of like if I'm just looking at it, right? Like there's a little context shared there. What is that you want to? Well, why are you putting that out there?
Just know I'm ready.
That's it.
Simple.
Do you think the people, your competitors, if they see that, they pick up on something from that or no?
Well, I don't know. If you know me, I like to put stuff out, but right now I'm going back into the dark mode, and dark mode is quite crazy.
I feel like you're looking into my eyes, Fred. I'm getting fired up over here. But do you reckon you're a bit misunderstood? Like, do you think people are mincing confidence with arrogance? Because the way that you speak and the conviction that you speak,
I feel like I've been like this my whole life.
Yeah.
If you've been around me, you should know me. But if you're not, like, from the outside looking in, a lot of people don't know me. But from the inside looking out, the people around me know me and know I've been doing that since day one. So it just is what it is.
nothing new.
There's so many like new things coming about like in the sport, and of course one of the things, you know, cameras are everywhere, people can see them, like the Netflix show, right? What is it that you sort of, I think people will walk away from that being like they're either a Noah Lyles fan, a Fred Kerley fan, a Marcel Jacobs fan, and I think you come out pretty strong in there. What is it that you want to kind of convey to the people who watch that show?
I feel like to give the people that don't know track or the daily life of a professional track athlete. Like, we actually, believe it or not, we don't got no off season.
Yeah.
So it's definitely track is year round. You gotta make sure your body up, sustain and stuff like that. But it's not only for us; it's for the next generation after us, to put a platform for a better generation. For when we gone, the next generation step up and have a platform for themselves when the future is needed.
It's a conversation I feel like is now starting to trend in track, but rivalries and people calling their shot like you and other athletes are doing. How important do you think that is to feed interest in this sport? Because sometimes it's too friendly. Not everyone's going to get on.
See, I feel like I hate everybody when it comes to competition.
Yeah.
Like, we can be best friends, but once we get on that line, it's no best friend. But I think that's what a lot of people get stuff messed up about. I'm not friendly when it comes to competition. We can be best friends or friends outside the track, but you want that position, I want that position too. So we all can be friends outside the track, but I hate everybody when it comes to competing. Like, when we go on that line, it's no friends. It's like I don't got no enemies, but it's no friends when it's come to me competing against anybody. I hate everybody.
Yeah.
Simple as that. We can be friends outside of the track and away from track and field. But I hate everybody when it comes to competition because hey, everybody want that limelight. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like when we competing, I don't got no friends.
Yeah. We
can go down once we get done, but competition, like at that evil. I don't want.
Is that the same if for you? Let's say you run these races and it doesn't quite go your way. Are you able to switch off pretty quick and be like, all right, that race is done?
Once I leave the track stadium, I'm back to a normal
Friend.
person. So it's
friend.
like
When we sat down in Budapest last year, you said this year you're out for blood. Have you been satisfied yet, or you're still?
I'm not satisfied until I cross that Olympic with a goal around my neck.
What have you made of sort of like your? I know you look at the results, right? Like maybe you're not watching every single race, but you pay attention to, you know, Marcel's coming around. You know, Noah is also still sort of at the top right now. How are you sizing up the rest of the world right now?
Tell you the truth, I'm really not sizing up nobody because I believe I'm the best, and simple as that. And I'm trying to duplicate 9.7 or faster. So I know what I think I took a year off in track and field, and I'm barely getting back around. and I'm getting back to my old self.
Still not. Still haven't seen your old self yet.
I haven't saw my old self, but it's coming.
I think one of the cool things about just when you make the team now, it's sort of, this is hard, right? Like the U.S. trials is very difficult to navigate these rounds. It's sort of, there's a lot of pressure. You have to be at your best here. But now that that hard part has been, accomplished and overcome, you just bought yourself, 5, however many more weeks, and it's back to 0-0. Like the 3 guys who made the team, like
it's a clean slate now. So my coaches know what I need and was missing for the latter part of the season. So it's all about getting everything correct and get going and actually get back in 100-meter shape to get where I'm trying to go.
Wow. What does that training look like now?
Hard.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more technical than anything. Just getting all the small details for the bigger picture.
Because if I'm extracting that final, your back end, that last 40 was blistering. Like that's where you really caught bodies.
I feel like my top end coming back.
Yeah.
I missed my front end, but my top end came back just a matter of a week.
Yeah.
So
what's harder to train? Is the front end harder to train or the back end harder to train?
No, for me it's just like I feel like I was doing 60s indoors to get me where I'm going, but at the end of the day, I feel like being from a strength background for 400, the top end is easy for me, and the front end got to work on.
Yeah.
it's such a fast race. But like in that final, was there a point where, you enter that race thinking, all right, I'm racing for the win. But then as it starts to unfold, you have to react to what is happening around you. Were you at that point racing for second and third?
I'm going to tell you the truth. If I would never start leaning over, I would have won that race. I started leaning over and dipping too early.
Yeah.
And my coach saw that, and he cussed me out after the race and back to the drawing board. Like I say, 0-0.
The lean at the end, is that something you're just trying to...
No, I would never lean no more. I'm trying to go run through the line. The lean is not what we train for. It's running through the line. I don't do that in training. I should not do that at a track meet.
Because there was the lean in 2021 as well.
I don't train for the leaning no more.
That race, the Olympic final from 2021, when's the last time you watched it? And like, how quickly have you just sort of like, all right, it's done. Like, I put that behind me.
The last time I watched that race was actually in 2022 when I won the gold medal.
Why was that?
Because like when you're so close to something, and it was like track and field is all about inches, and I gave up, I broke, and leaned during that race, and I don't want to lean no more. I want to celebrate like Usain Bolt celebrate.
No more leaning for Fred. All right, I'm gonna put that in the memory bank for Paris. Yeah, you won't be leaning. Look, I got to get a clip for Australia here. You came down last year. You blew the joint up. You were the most popular man around the track. As an Australian, am I going to see you back? Did you enjoy being in Australia?
I definitely enjoy being in Australia. If they invite me back, I'd be lovely to go back.
I hope they're watching that. Please bring it back.
What's the best, meet atmosphere you've ever been to?
For me, I feel like all of them, but Jamaica is different.
Jamaica is different. Yeah.
So it's like the crowd definitely in tune with all the athletes. I feel like Jamaica is one of the biggest one. When I went to Nairobi was good. China was a good one. And all the Europe was good because they actually in tune with the athletes. It's just like the crowd go crazy. Like I feel like every track meet I've actually been to is just like good atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's the one you haven't been to that you want to get to? I can't think of any, but...
I don't know. I haven't been to all the Dominlee ones, but I really want to mark out everyone on the list. Say I've been. So
set the meet record at all of them.
Yeah, and
why not?
And go ride them into the wind.
What did you? Okay, so I'm looking at just sort of like those early diamond leagues in China, right? Like you said that the season doesn't start till it's championship season. Is that everyone's sort of mentality in those races? Because to be honest, the diamond leagues have been
for
like,
those meets is
bad.
I feel like those meets is just like preseason basketball. The season don't start until playoffs.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the same contract. We just learning, trying to get everything and together.
No disrespect to those meets, because I'm sure you'll want to go back and
definitely. There's no disrespect towards those meets, but I feel like training, everybody training soccer is different.
Yeah.
Like your coach is picking you at this time and so forth. It's just like your coach is training you for certain stuff. like different from between college and professional. You gotta peak 4 or 5 times in a collegiate season, or in the professionals, you gotta peak 2 times.
Yeah. Of course, like we've been asking, like a lot of the athletes just sort of like around, one of the bigger news stories within the sport being like, Grand Slam track entering the space. I know a lot of the athletes are still sort of learning the details. What were your sort of like first impressions of everything?
I feel like a good, but you gotta be in the right position. Just don't do a one-off where be good this year and then fall off next year.
Yeah. How do you feel about running 100, 200? I mean, you could do fairly well every single $100,000 every single
1, 2, and 4.
Just bop around.
Yeah,
category
my
to category?
agent here, so you know what to do.
Kyle, if you're watching, you know.
Yeah.
Fred, come Paris, let's say that everything plays out the way you want it to. You don't lean. You run through the line. You celebrate like Usain Bolt. You're the Olympic champion. What's that? Is that going to be vindicating? You've bet on yourself so many times this year. So many
definitely
times.
That will be up for like it would definitely be my big achievement in the track and field since I've been doing the sport. That's go on top of the podium.
Yeah.
Can't play devil's advocate? Like, what if it doesn't happen?
If it don't happen, it was not in my cards, but I know it's gonna happen.
All right. Well, Fred. Oh wait, I guess like here you've scratched the 200. No phase double gold this year.
Well, I gotta listen to my coach, and my coach know what we are doing for. So I was just like, good, but I still can get triple gold.
Yeah. Okay. So ideally,
Yeah.
you make your case like for the events you want to. The 100 for sure. What are the other 2 medals you
4x1
want?
and maybe 4x4.
Yeah, well, we talked about this yesterday, didn't we? Anyone who's in the US team is in the pool for the 4x4,
Yes.
right? Because you'd mount a pretty heavy argument to be in there.
And if I pick a team, it's gonna be my training buddies and one other person.
Yeah. Right. Like the
Hell of a team.
No, think about it. Like the ideal 4x4 team, if we're assuming like every single person is firing at their best, would be, give me the right order. So it'd be, who leads off?
Me out the hole, Norman second, a blank third, and Rod in the race.
Right to anchor it. I think that third one could be Quincy Hall.
Quincy Burning is just open spot right there.
4x1?
4x1, it will be my ideal order. It will be Coleman or Grant first leg,
Grant.
me for second, Arian or Kenny third, and Noah bring it home.
It's a strong team.
That's a hell of. Anyone can challenge that? Any countries you think
No.
get close?
No.
World record?
Yes, definitely.
All right. Well, Fred, we appreciate you stopping by, always dropping gems on us. And I'm looking forward to just like all the magic you've got in store for Paris.
Appreciate it.
Good luck,
All right.
Fred.
Appreciate it.
All right, that does it for CITIUS Mag live from Eugene. Chris Chavez, Mitch Dyer, and Fred Kerley here. We'll be back tonight after the races to unpack all the big surprises and results, and we'll see you in a couple hours.
Seems like you've been wasting time trying to find your place in life. You need to get your ducks all in a row.